Hi children, how are you all? In this session, we are going to learn about the first chapter in the grade 10 about the chemical reactions and equations. In our day-to-day life, we come across many situations. For example, we had left the milk without placing into the fridge outside. So what happens? Do we find any change after few hours? Yes, we do find a change in its state, or it may form small lumps if it is long stood, or we can find a change in its state or taste. It changes sour in. The change we bring here is a chemical change, because we had learned in the grade 9th standard about physical change and a chemical change. Many differences we had learned there. A chemical change is a permanent change in which new substances will be formed. So we can say the process of souring the milk is also a chemical change. And we can find few more examples, like when we leave a small iron nail in the moisture for a few days, it may develop a reddish brown surface. What is the reddish brown developed on the surface we call? Generally we call it as the rust. So the point what we had observed here is milk when left outside during summer especially becomes sour. Iron nails when exposed to moisture turns to reddish brown on its surface. That is, we call rust. Rusting of iron nail is the phenomena we can call. And we know about the fermentation process. The fermentation process, what happens is the grapes, they contain the sugars. During the fermentation process, these sugars are converted into alcohols, and carbon dioxide gas is also released by the yeast that is used during the process of the fermentation. So what we are going to say is the sugars that are present in the grapes were oxidized. So we speak in the atmospheric oxygen that is available, that is converted, that is making the sugar to be oxidized into ethyl alcohol. So that is also a chemical change. Fermentation of grapes. Fermentation of grapes is due to oxidation of sugars into alcohol. This is also a chemical change. And we know the food what we eat, it will be digested. It is also the process of chemical change, and including the cooking of food. Cooking of food is also a chemical change in which a raw material is given, it is converted into new product. So we are going to come to a point what is meant by a chemical change. That is related for the equation chemical reaction. A chemical change involves in converting reactants to products. Chemical change involves in converting reactants to products. So reactants we can call, these are the initial substances and products are the final substances. So when a change is a permanent change, we are going to call it as a chemical change. So this process where a particular reactant is going to be converted into a product, it is going to be called as a chemical reaction. Let us give the definition for a chemical reaction. It is a process in which one or more substances, that is the reactants, initial reactants, one or more substances, initial reactants are converted into one or more different substances, that is the products. So that is what the meaning or definition of a chemical reaction. In this case, we have used the word substances. The substances may be chemical elements or compounds. So, some of the elements that we have learned in the grade 9 standard, we are going to recall. Magnesium is a metal, and in the elemental form, we represent only one magnesium. An oxygen molecule, we can say, it is in the elemental form, it is called as the O2. So, the reactants is the plural word we had used, means the one or more substances we had called, means magnesium is one of the reactant we can take, and oxygen is another reactant we can take. These reactions generally follows the law of conservation of mass, means the law states that the mass of the reactants and the products remains the same in a balanced chemical change or equation. What is here, the point we are going to bring up here is, generally in our grade 10 standard, we have had every point in the form of activity based. And we are going to learn now how the magnesium is going to react with oxygen under the heading activity 1.1. So in this activity 1.1, what we are going to learn is a magnesium ribbon we are going to choose. This magnesium ribbon we are going to hold with help of tongs. Tongs are the scissor type material that is used to hold the magnesium ribbon. Related for this activity in a play field method we had given in one of the link. First you please watch that activity, then please continue with this topic. Good. Now in that activity what we had observed, what we will be observing is a magnesium ribbon will be held by the help of the tongs. That magnesium ribbon, when we start burning, initially we must take a magnesium ribbon, and when we start burning that magnesium ribbon, during the process of burning, the products may be like the magnesium will be reacting with atmospheric oxygen to form a white colored ash. This white colored ash or the powdered state, it is the magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide. Most of us will find very difficult if we don't know the grade 9th standard basics. That is magnesium. When we observe, its charge is 2 plus. We had done this one in the formation of ions through the outermost electronic configuration using Bohr body scheme. And the oxide being its negative charge, both when we try to form the crisscross method, the valency of magnesium is 2, valency of oxygen is 2, and so these both we can write Mg2O2, and finally we say it forms a magnesium oxide from our basics of the grade 9th standard. So according to the basic that we have learned is the valency of magnesium is 2 plus, whereas oxide ion is 2 minus. These are their valencies, but one magnesium reacts directly with only one oxygen. In the atmosphere, oxygen will not exist alone. It exists as a diatomic molecule. Hence, with one oxygen, we want one magnesium. And with 2 oxygens, we want 2 magnesium elements for the balancing state. So 2 magnesiums will combine 2 of the oxygens to form 2 moles of magnesium oxide. Again, we had combined this for the law of conservation of mass. Means the mass of reactants is equal to mass of the products. In this activity, we will be getting a powdered magnesium oxide, that is a white colorless ash. This white colorless ash is the compound we call magnesium oxide. So shall we define this one as our chemical reaction? Because we came to know the definition that a chemical reaction is a process in which one or more substances. Here what are the substances we find? We find the magnesium, that is in the form of ribbon, is going to react with oxygen. So these are the substances. Initial reactants we can call. We can call both of them as the initial reactants. Are converted into one or more different substances. Now magnesium oxide is not in its elemental form, it is in its compound form. These are there in the elemental form. These are there in the elemental form. But magnesium oxide is in its compound form. So we say a chemical reaction has been taken place. So that is in the activity 1.1 we had recalled. So let's recall the activity 1.1 finally. When magnesium ribbon is burned in the atmospheric oxygen, it gives a powdered white colored magnesium oxide. During this process, we find white dazzling flame. We find white dazzling flame. During Diwali, you will be burning crackers. In the crackers, when they are burning, they give different colors. And generally we call matabi in Telugu. The matabi, when it is burning, it gives the white dazzling flame. That is nothing but magnesium ribbon. So magnesium ribbon burns with white dazzling flame. Means during the chemical change, we observe there is some change in color. Here there is a change in state also. It is the solid state, and here also it is a solid state only, but in the powdered state. So once we are going to give the conclusions of the activity 1.1 that we had studied with burning of the magnesium ribbon. Question is, How does magnesium ribbon burns? How does it burns, children? It burns with an white dazzling flame. Magnesium ribbon burns with an white dazzling flame. What is the state of the product after burning the magnesium ribbon? So once we conclude, we are getting a white powdered ash. We are getting the white powdered ash. We are going for the last point. What is the product formed when magnesium ribbon is burned? So after the activity, when we conclude, we had understood magnesium and oxygen, they had combined with each other to give the product magnesium oxide. 2 Mg plus O2 had given 2 MgO. The name of the product is magnesium oxide. So we say this is the chemical change.